A bomb cyclone is about to rapidly deepen over the central U.S. later this week, bringing a significant severe weather outbreak, high winds, blizzard conditions, blowing dust, and extreme fire danger all at the same time. This storm is going to be a serious mess, and it's even bigger than the one that happened last week. In this video, I'm going to show you what to expect from this massive storm, but first, please be sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more weather updates. First, here's a look at the simulated precipitation on the Euro model. You can see that this starts with actually a cutoff low moving into the southwest, and that's going to actually move eastward and actually create a minor severe weather event on Wednesday across parts of the south. That could actually take out some of the moisture and instability for the big storm that happens on Friday and Saturday, but that big storm is still going to be pretty intense because notice this, by Thursday morning you have heavy rain and snow moving into the western U.S., especially across California, and then this continues moving across the mountains in the western U.S., going through Thursday night, and then by early Friday you finally have a low pressure system that suddenly appears on the eastern side of the Rocky Mountains over Colorado, and this is where some of the really intense stuff begins. You have some heavy snow and then also some really strong winds behind the low pressure system, and that's going to lead to some significant fire danger across Texas and New Mexico. And then notice what happens. This really blows up into a storm system that's 977 millibars, 975 millibars. That's basically a bomb cyclone, and this is where things start getting really bad. By early afternoon on Friday, you have this powerful low pressure system with some very strong winds with this, and kind of another system hitting California, but this one right here in the central U.S. is actually going to explode with some severe weather. Some severe thunderstorms actually explode by Friday afternoon across Missouri especially, and this gets pretty intense. Like the low pressure of 975 millibars, that's as intense as a Category 2 hurricane, and so this is going to be probably the strongest storm so far this year, and the intensity of this storm is probably pretty rare to have happen in this region. And notice the severe thunderstorms really push eastward going into Friday evening, Friday night, and it's pretty much a strong line of thunderstorms. Now, how severe they get further north, like across the Midwest, the storm system is powerful enough to do that, but there might not be quite enough moisture reaching that far north. But we do have a pretty intense storm system, and then we start seeing some heavy snow across the northern plains with this going into Friday night and then even into early on Saturday. Then what happens is you have kind of a secondary low pressure system that kicks off an even bigger severe weather event potentially across the south. Intense severe thunderstorms on Saturday afternoon in the south. That keeps going all the way into Sunday, potentially, with the potential for severe thunderstorms along the East Coast as well. And so this is a pretty big deal. This system is going to be causing a lot of impacts, not just the severe weather, but the severe weather is going to be a major part of this. Basically a multi-day severe weather outbreak. The SPC has a slight risk of severe weather for tomorrow, Wednesday, March 12th. They have a slight risk of severe weather, and that's probably going to be mostly hail with this, and there is some moisture from this cutoff low that's actually going to set up a minor severe weather event tomorrow into Thursday. This kind of takes away some of the moisture, but then on Friday, this powerful storm system pulls in a lot more moisture for a even bigger severe weather outbreak. This is a significant severe weather outbreak that starts on Friday, March 14th. The SPC already has a 30% chance of severe weather across southern Illinois, eastern Missouri, eastern Arkansas, northwestern Mississippi, Tennessee, and parts of Kentucky, a little bit of Kentucky, and then an even bigger slight risk of severe weather. And this is a pretty big deal. But then the CSU model actually has a 35% chance of severe weather, which would kind of equate to a moderate risk of severe weather as this gets closer. That's what the CSU model is thinking. And then it gets even bigger with a 30% chance of severe weather from the SPC for Saturday, March 15th. But this could definitely uptrend significantly as we get closer to it. And then there's a big slight risk that reaches all the way from the Ohio Valley down to the Gulf Coast. But the CSU model shows a 59, almost a 60% chance of severe weather, which is a moderate risk. The CSU model is predicting a high-end severe weather event from this, with significant severe weather expected, including possibly strong tornadoes. And then for Sunday, continues the SPC has a slight risk of severe weather for the East Coast. The CSU model isn't really thinking that's going to be so intense. Here's what happens on the 500 millibar wind. You can see the cutoff low hitting the southwest kind of tonight into Wednesday, and then that kind of moves eastward across Texas and parts of the South, where we can have a minor severe weather event, but it does kind of take away some of the instability for the big storm behind it. But this minor severe weather event isn't going to take away that much moisture, so there's a lot of potential with this next storm. Look at this, because by Friday afternoon, you have this pretty powerful trough, and this is negatively tilted. So yeah, this is definitely a very intense storm system with that negatively tilted trough and some very strong winds flowing to the south of it. And then notice this, it actually, as we go through Friday afternoon, Friday evening into Friday night, this gets even more negatively tilted. So that's pretty significant. And then notice that it doesn't get any more negatively tilted than this, and that moves towards the Midwest. But then notice you have kind of a secondary trough. This is what's going to kick off the severe weather event in the south. And then that keeps it going all the way into Sunday with the severe weather. The instability is there on the Wednesday severe weather event. It's not that significant until we get to Friday. This is that big storm really brings in a lot more instability, but some of it is capped over the Midwest, and the moisture isn't necessarily going to be there, so it's not like a huge severe weather outbreak with that. But then, looking at the instability, it goes all the way from the south to all the way across Missouri and even into Iowa on the GFS model. But then for Saturday, it looks more significant, where the highest instability is over the south with potentially over 2,000 joules of CAPE, which is a lot. And then the instability does reach all the way into Ohio. And then we have some more instability kind of over the East Coast. That doesn't look that significant. It really looks like Saturday is going to be the worst day for severe weather. The Friday severe weather event does have a lot of potential too, but it doesn't look quite as intense further north because the moisture doesn't reach that far. If it did, it could be one of the worst severe weather outbreaks. The low-level jet is actually pretty intense on Friday night across like Missouri and Illinois, so that does also help generate severe weather and tornadoes. But it does look like Saturday, the low-level jet kind of fires up again, this time over the south, bringing in more moisture and setting up the atmosphere for some significant severe weather, and that kind of moves to the east on Sunday. The supercell composite from the GFS it's on the lower end for this Wednesday night severe weather event, but then it does surge pretty far to the north on Friday, but it's not extremely high until we get towards Friday evening. It does kind of increase to some higher values, but then it gets even higher on Saturday, especially across Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama. Some pretty high supercell composite values before that tones down and moves towards the East Coast on Sunday. Now, the moisture is a big thing. The first system brings a minor amount of moisture across the South, even into the Midwest and the Ohio Valley, dew points in the mid-50s. But then our Friday severe weather outbreak brings dew points in the low to mid-50s for the Midwest, and that's not great for severe weather. But further south, we have dew points in the 60s in the south, but the most energy for severe weather would probably be in this area, and the moisture is okay, but the atmosphere is extremely favorable for a tornado outbreak, but the moisture isn't. The moisture does get close, though. You have dew points in the low 60s reaching into Arkansas, and then high 60s along the Gulf Coast for the Friday severe weather outbreak. But notice we have some very dry air that really punches into it. Then on Saturday, it looks more intense, where you have dew points approaching 70 degrees across the south. This is way more optimal for severe weather. You have the moisture, you have the instability, you have the dynamics in the atmosphere, all of that kind of lining up. So that this could be a significant severe weather outbreak on Saturday. That's why I'm saying it looks like probably the most intense day. Even dew points reaching into the mid 60s across the East Coast in North Carolina, Virginia, even potentially into Pennsylvania. So that's pretty significant. But notice all this dry air across Texas is going to help to kick off severe weather, but also it's going to bring a lot of blowing dust with some of the winds and extreme fire danger. Yeah, here's a look at the fire weather outlook. This was today, some critical fire conditions. Tomorrow, critical fire conditions. On Thursday, we have more critical fire weather conditions, even across Nebraska and Kansas, but also still in that New Mexico, Texas area. Friday, this could really get upgraded. I think at some point this is going to get upgraded to extremely critical fire weather conditions for Texas. And we have Texas is under critical fire weather conditions, even most of Oklahoma and parts of Kansas under some critical fire weather conditions for Friday, March 14th, as this big storm system brings in all these very strong winds with that dry air. Saturday, a smaller area of critical fire weather conditions, but still it's going to be pretty dry out there, and there's not really any rain supposed to happen down there, at least for the next week or so. It's not just the dry air, but also the winds. The wind gusts are going to be a big problem. This is even Wednesday evening, you have wind gusts possibly 40 to 50 miles an hour across parts of Texas. And then on Friday, it really gets extreme, where you have some wind gusts possibly 60 to 70 miles an hour across parts of eastern New Mexico and the Texas Panhandle, western Texas, seeing some wind gusts of anywhere from 55 to 70 miles an hour. And these are some dry winds just screaming across these areas. And that's going to lead to that extreme fire danger and also the blowing dust. You could have some hurricane force wind gusts in some places. Even closer to Oklahoma City, you have wind gusts of 65 miles an hour. And yeah, so this is going to be a big deal. Not just the severe weather and the potential for a tornado outbreak, but also extreme fire danger and the strong winds. And then further north, you're going to have some strong winds and some snow. The Euro model is showing not some extreme snow accumulations. It doesn't look like it's going to be an extreme snowfall event, but it is showing possibly anywhere from 5 to 8 inches of snow across eastern South Dakota and also parts of Minnesota. This could also drop like a couple inches of snow over South Dakota, Nebraska, even Iowa. That's definitely possible. It doesn't look like an extreme snowfall event, but there is going to be snow on that north side of the storm. And this area where the heaviest snow happens could shift around a little bit, but that's just what the Euro model's thinking right now in terms of snowfall amounts. But across the western U.S., especially California, really going to get hammered by several feet of snow, anywhere from like 4 to 6 feet of snow across the Sierra Nevada mountains in California, and then the Cascades are going to see a couple feet of snow too, and then other higher elevations across the western U.S., especially the Rocky Mountains, could see a couple feet of snow too. And even across some of the higher elevations in the Southwest, you could see over 1 to 2 feet of snow. That's an important thing because their snowfall has been below average this winter, so this will be helpful for that. But another interesting thing is before this big storm happens, there's actually supposed to be a total lunar eclipse. Yeah, so there's a total lunar eclipse happening Thursday night for March 13th to March 14th, 2025, and it'll pretty much be visible across pretty much all of the U.S. Wherever it's not cloudy, you're going to be able to see it. And yeah, you won't want to miss that. So yeah, if it's not cloudy where you are, you'll be able to see this total eclipse on Thursday night, and then get ready for that powerful storm system to bring some really intense weather on Friday into this weekend. Thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, please be sure to hit the like button, share the video, comment below, and hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications for more weather updates. Extreme Weather Zone, out.